was young, they told me I should put the pencil away. I gotta color the picture because
You're listening to the Pickleball Lounge podcast, Toledo's home for all things pickleball. News, tips, and local action served weekly. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Pickle Lounge podcast. I'm your host, Eli Williams, and this week we're joined by Will Black and his dad, Mike Black, local players, local friends. But before we get into that conversation, a couple quick sponsors we'll run through. Natural Minder, they're on Monroe Road. They'll take care of all your essential oils, castor oils, Element electrolytes, just over the border in Lambertville. Open Tuesday, Wednesday, Fridays, but prefer an appointment. Secondly, we have Bedford Performance and Auto Care. Last week I did say it was a detailing, so that's my mistake. They are in auto care, so they'll get your car back onto the road. Skilled help that won't break the bank. Open Monday to Friday, 8 to 5, Temperance, Michigan. And our last sponsor, which these two both know quite a bit about, is Bill's tournament he's running, Glass City Pickleball Association. Next tournament is this Sunday. Last day to register is this Friday. And unlike last week, this week Subway's actually giving some food away. They'll have a player's tent with some hydration and some subs. So get into that before Friday. Tournament's this. Do you guys know what time the tournament starts?
Usually it's 8 a.m.
8 a.m. Wrapping up around what time?
1 or 2 p.m.
1 or 2 p.m. I wasn't there. I'll be there this week. But great tournament. He's doing great. We've heard great feedback. These two actually played together last week. So what were you guys' thoughts on that? Mike?
Our thoughts were that was probably one of the best run tournaments that we've been a part of. And we've been a part of a lot of tournaments. It was just very fluid. Bill's son, Cam, was integral in helping that run so fluid as well. As soon as you got off the court, you were pretty much back on again. Like I said, it was very, very fluid. I think it's going to keep getting better as he's gotten these big sponsorships as well. So, and Bill loves this type of environment. This is kind of up his alley. So, no better person to run a tournament than Bill. So.
Yeah, Bill helped run your tournament out of your barn.
Yeah.
He likes it more than playing. It seems half the time.
Yeah.
He's very passionate about organization, which is funny to say.
Yeah.
But he's so good at it.
Yeah. Yeah. When I went to the World Championships, I would compare it to that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think it was that high of a level. So.
Yeah. Well, Bill will like hearing it. He wanted the feedback from all his players, but this is the best way we can give him the feedback. Will, how'd you play in it? Did your dad drag you down at all?
No. We played good together. I think it was fun, and it went by like really fast, but it was like all run really well by Bill, and Bill did a great job.
Did you play with the new paddle in that tournament?
Yeah, me and my dad did.
Yeah, so for those of you that don't know, Will is a up-and-coming, emerging young pro here with his both tennis backgrounds from both of you guys, but a new brand deal for you guys, or sponsorship. So what's the 2044? Why'd you guys go with them? Just kind of give us the feedback you've gotten from your paddles and in 2044 in general.
I think it all started back at the end of 2024. We were able to meet with Brandon Contrado, one of the owners of 2044. He got to see Will, play with Will, play against Will, and from there he was, I think, pretty intrigued to bring a young person on board as a sponsorship and sign a pro contract. And as of January 1st, Will was able to sign that contract and take advantage of all of the amenities that come with that as well, including, I think, a really great paddle. So
yeah. Heard great feedback. I still got to get my hands on it. Sean's actually letting me play with his here soon. But Will, what's it mean now for you to be a sponsored player? Do you feel a little bit more responsibility when it comes to pickleball?
Yeah, I feel like more like, I don't know, like
pressure.
Yeah, pressure a little bit, but like also it's fun. And if it wasn't for Jim Bronson, I feel like I wouldn't have met Brandon, and sure. I don't know if I would have gotten the sponsorship, but if it weren't for Jim Bronson, then.
Yeah, Jim Bronson's another player sponsored by 2044. Was he their first sponsor? Do you know?
At least one of the first. Yeah.
He's the first pro in our area that I know of. He's senior pro currently. But Will, or Mike, you two, you guys are kind of in this together type of thing. Will's so young, he needs like some mentors. So who are you kind of shaping this role together? As obviously there's Deion Sanders and Shador Sanders, all his sons. But like you have CJ Klinger and his dad. How old are you, Will? 16?
Yeah.
Yeah, and CJ is what, 18, 19?
Yeah, close to 19. Yeah.
Very, very similar age gaps. Are you kind of shaping your relationship together kind of like that?
Yeah, basically my wife and I are trying to get Will and our daughter Lily everything they need. You know, we're just willing to kind of, we look at it like Will's got 2 more years of high school, so we're all in and do whatever we can for him. He's very passionate about the sport, and as long as he likes it and enjoys it,
Sure.
we're gonna support him and do whatever we can for him.
So the switch from tennis to pickleball, which you played, did you play tennis in high school?
After high school.
After
yeah.
high school.
Yeah.
And obviously Will's been playing it, and your daughter's she plays it at a collegiate level, correct?
She's trying to get back to that, after an injury, yeah.
Yeah, which is tough.
Yeah.
But tennis, that's kind of runs in your veins. Pickleball, obviously new to a lot of folks. It's not new to the world, but new to us around here, it would seem. So the switch from tennis to pickleball, what do you feel like is the right time for him or you guys as a team? But I was talking to him a little bit before. I was like, what if tennis picks up inside you? Would you pursue tennis? But it seems like he likes pickleball just a bit more.
Yeah, how would you describe that right now, Will, for you?
I feel like pickleball is starting to take over. Like, I used to love tennis, but I had an arm injury, and I had to take on a new sport, and I kind of liked pickleball. I didn't really know, and I started to play it more.
Sure.
And I liked it.
So honestly, that's a great reason to pursue anything. If you don't like it, why go for it? Like you still give tennis lessons, I believe, right?
Yeah. I really enjoy that. I try to give it to younger kids and develop them, and then once they get to a certain level, I have another gentleman try to pass them off to as they develop their game as well. So
very cool. Have you thought about doing any pickleball lessons?
Yeah, I've given some actually,
nice.
And a lot of the younger kids. Since I'm a teacher, I teach physical education. We actually do a unit in our class, and I'm able to introduce that to kindergartners all the way through 4th grade.
Oh, very cool.
And they're intrigued by it. They all love it. It's something they can all at least get their hands on a paddle and hit the ball in certain ways. So you can kind of adapt and adjust it based on the grade level you're doing too. So
yeah, it's a community driven sport. It would seem. Whether that's toxic or not, it kind of just goes with community. It's either good or bad.
Yeah.
But honestly, 95% of pickleball players are great people. When it comes competitive, everyone's competitive, so it just looks a little bit different to everybody looking in. But Will, with this, going back to your tournaments, you guys both did pretty well in the Glass City this past week, and tell us a little bit about that.
We had some tough competition. I played singles and doubles, but we played a lot of good players, like Parker Grind, Eric Liu, who else is in that?
Is that your singles, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good players in that, and I felt like it was a really tough tournament, but...
You brought home gold in both, correct?
Yeah.
Your partner in doubles was Parker?
Oh, yeah.
Right, yeah. Mike, you brought home at least 1, but maybe 2 gold, right?
Yeah, 2 gold. I played thankfully, I didn't have to play Will or those guys. In the younger division, I played a 40 and over, 4.5 doubles with Rob. Fortunate enough to get gold in that, and then 4.0, 40 and over, and got gold in that as well for singles. So
I've played both of them in singles, and it's not fun. And honestly, attribute it to the forehand. Well, Will's backhand is insane.
Yeah.
If you have never witnessed Will's backhand, it's as fast as his forehand until he hits his forehand. But Bill's tournament, you played in that together, obviously. What's it like playing as a father-son duo? Is it no sports really you can do that? If you think about the age gap in football, it's impossible. Basketball, possibly. But pickleball, you get the chance to compete at a high level with your son and your dad. What's that like?
I'll go first, and then I'm interested to hear what Will has to say. But I'm always just enamored playing with Will. Like you said, this sport allows me to play with Will, and no other sport really I could do that. So I'll find myself, Will takes a lot of the balls, obviously, playing on the left side, which is perfect. But I'll find myself sitting back and watching him hit shots, and I'm not at the net like I should be because I'm kind of blown away by the drops he hits or the shots he hits. And it's just honestly a joy to be able to spend time with him, do something productive together, and watch him grow and do well. So as a dad, I couldn't be more proud. So.
Will, what you have to say?
I think it's really fun playing with him. A little frustrating sometimes, but
Sure.
but if you just pick each other up, I think it always comes out okay. But
A good partner goes a long way, and in a double sport, especially it seems with pickleball, finding the right partner to stick with you game after game, tournament after tournament, which you haven't found your solidified partner yet, have you?
no, not yet. But I'm trying to maybe be with Parker.
Yeah.
Parker's a really good player.
Parker's just so busy with work. We were talking about earlier, but great player. The chemistry, I feel like, has to be there when it comes to high competitive tournaments. You can probably get away with it in the 4-0 type of thing, but when you're trying to go pro, it's a little bit different. What are you looking for in a partner, Will?
High energy, always picking like me up, and then like never like giving up on a point or anything.
Sure.
Like
You looking to be the left side player the whole time?
whatever they are more comfortable with,
You can cover
always
the
down
other
to play,
side. Yeah, that's a good player,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah.
When you guys played, he said he played left side, which you're used to probably playing the left
Yeah.
side a lot of the time. So
Yeah.
what's it like taking the pickleball back seat, essentially?
I'm happy with him taking every shot,
Sure.
honestly, and hopefully when I get one ball hit to me, I can take care of that one ball. So.
Do you find it to be the case when, like, your partner's taking a ton of the balls, or they're just going his direction most of the time, that one ball that comes to you, you're not ready for?
Yes.
I find that
100%.
all the time. But Will, you've got a great opportunity here. You have a website up. Tell us a little bit about the website, Mike.
Yeah, the website, thanks to Matt McEwen, who's an amazing guy, a teacher at Bowling Green High School, also a great pickleball player. He was nice enough to stay up super late last night and make Will's website go live. So it's willmichaelblack.com. And on there, you're going to be able to find his paddles for sale, and there will be various videos, pictures highlighting his career thus far, and maybe even some instructional videos coming soon. So
Very good. Will, what's it like to see yourself kind of in the spotlight now? You're 16, you're so young. Well, first of all, ask, what do your friends think?
they're kind of like, I don't know, they don't really know much about it, but some do, but they're not really into the sport that much. They don't really know anything about it, but some of them think it's really cool. Some of them think it's like whatever.
What's it feel like to you? You've got your website is named after you now. Your name's on a paddle. Obviously, you said it comes with pressure, but do you feel a sense of like accomplishment with it?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I don't think I ever in my life think I'd be here, but
Sure.
yeah, but I don't think I'd ever paddle or even play pickleball like when I was younger. But
Yeah.
yeah,
When did you guys get into pickleball? Probably the COVID-ish?
Yeah, well, actually, it was about a year ago, and it was May, and then we ran into you at the Glass City. And that's when we first met you. So
right.
our first tournament was together at Glass City, so I'd say about a year ago.
Wow. Which progression that fast. So
Yeah.
what you're seeing him progress so fast.
Mm-hmm.
You're progressing as a family, obviously, together, because it takes a whole team to really push a pro player.
Yeah.
What's the ultimate goal for Will?
Well, we were just talking about that. I think, he wants to be dedicated to tennis his last 2 years of high school. He wants to finish strong, go to states and things like that. But I think we talked long term, he'd like to be a pro in pickleball, follow like CJ Klinger. CJ's been a really big support for Will, his dad Darren as well. And I think through that guidance and being such a good role model and example, Will would really like to kind of follow in CJ's footsteps and get to that level. So
It's like not many are going to go through what you guys as a family go through. The sport's so young. It's nice to have a kind of a role model in it. However, it's uncharted waters for you guys. Does it make you a little bit nervous coming out of high school, kind of putting his full weight into pickleball?
I think the nice thing is our kids played in such high-level tournaments since they were little. 8, 9, and 10, they were playing in these Midwest junior tournaments. They were playing a national tournament. So I think that definitely helped them. I think the only nuance is just the new parts about the sport, that we're still learning, or what tournaments are going to be best to get into, or finding the right partner for Will, which, he's been fortunate to find another couple young guys that he's playing with up in Michigan now. So
Awesome.
Those are just like little things that we're still figuring out. But I think the experience from when they were younger has really helped them a lot. So
Yeah, a lot of traveling when it comes to pickleball.
Yeah.
Especially, well, you don't have to travel super far to get relatively competitive tournaments, but if you want the bigger ones, you're going to have to drive somewhere.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about moving locations to get them closer to better play consistently, or things like that?
I think our goal is to get them the best play, and we're willing to drive or fly wherever, whatever it takes to do that. So,
which goes a long way. I think that's a lot of reason why younger folks stop with a sport, is because they reach a plateau, and that's frankly because of the city they're in. It kind of reaches a plateau.
Yeah.
And honestly, you could have really good play in your city, but you're so used to playing the same people over and over, you'll go to a tournament and just get waxed because you're not used to seeing different things.
Yeah.
So Will, do you like the idea of traveling?
Yeah, I actually like it a lot. I don't like staying in the same area. I like going all over, and there's better play everywhere, but I like getting sometimes better play. You get better. I mean, I like it.
Yeah. But when it comes to, you're not going to get better unless your competition is better. You can obviously drill over and over, but when it comes to 2v2, you're not going to get better unless your players against you are better.
Yeah.
Which is humbling, but at your stage, it's kind of what you need, is to move around, to see new people, which is very unique situation. You get to somewhat play with CJ when he can.
Yeah.
Being on the road that long obviously is going to be taxing, but you said he's going to play his last 2 years of tennis. What's it like kind of seeing, he plays baseball somewhat as well, I think, or not, maybe not anymore.
Yeah, that's just getting put on the back burner a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just honestly, the 2 years left of tennis will only help us pickleball, because it seems like, and you can attest to this, tennis players come into pickleball and singles game is already dominant. And when a pickleball only player sees a tennis person wind up for a forehand, it's a little bit different, especially Will's.
Yeah.
Seeing, like, another player that I think of is Roshan.
Yeah.
When he would drive the ball at me off a short hop, it's scary to see. So what's the pros, cons coming from tennis from you guys to pickleball?
I think there's only actually advantages, and you can answer this too, but I think everything you relate to when you're trying to teach pickleball strategies, there's a lot of things that you're teaching them that come from tennis.
Sure.
Basically, it's a shortened version. I think the reflexes in the hands that you develop, the volleys, all of that helps you with your pickleball. And the nice thing about with your arm, a lot of the serving would be overhand motion. With tennis, you get to do the flip-flop, which is underhand, which is only more beneficial to you.
Oh, really?
Less injuries, I think, with that too. And Will has developed a few different serves, which has been kind of helpful in that too. So I think there's only advantages when you're paralleling the two sports like that. So,
which is a take that most people wouldn't take, because they'll say the slow game kind of messes them up. But you're saying it kind of helps because your reflexes are fast, since tennis is such a faster sport.
For sure.
Is it could that be a con in itself, the sport being a little bit slower?
When you're playing with someone like Will,
True.
And then you get entranced, or maybe watching what's going on.
Sure.
Maybe I have my paddle down one too many times and I get blown up. But other than that, I think it's only been beneficial overall. So.
And it just reminds me of the time that I've watched you guys play singles or doubles against each other. There's always some sort of smack talk going on, which is great chemistry, honestly. I was thinking about it, if my dad was my coach and I was trying to go pro, I think I'd have a hard time, because my dad's watching my every move, and my dad essentially is kind of making the calls for me. So how do you keep the relationship so clean the whole way through? I'm sure there's bumps and roads, just like everything, but
yeah, I think we just know ultimately it's just a game, and the most important thing is that we're out there competing and trying to get better. And I think the banter back and forth is just keeping it fun,
Yeah.
you know, and we keep it to a certain level. And ultimately, I know Will's better. I'm not trying. I already know my time has passed.
Sure.
But I still want to try to keep his competitive juices going
Yeah.
a little bit, and tell him that, you know, I will make sure he remembers he learned some things from me
Fair.
as well. So.
Yeah. Well, what's it like? You try to keep the relationship light with your dad when he's kind of helping you, mentor you into this pro role.
Yeah, he's always been supportive of me with whatever I do. Pickleball, really. He always wants to help me with whatever, really. I mean, but it's always nothing but, like, helping from him.
Yeah, it's nice when you've talked about your wife's
Yeah.
and daughter kind of just push each other. It seems, which is healthy. The first time I actually met you, and Sean and I have talked about this countless times, is it always seems like what Will needs, Will gets,
Yeah.
in a good manner.
Yeah.
He obviously works hard. He's so good at the sport already. But you do just about anything for your kids to push them. So what's that kind of like? Seeing your dad makes sacrifices for you, obviously. Obviously we know you're appreciative of it. He kind of goes out of his way to meet Brandon. Obviously Jim Bronson helps. What's it like seeing your dad make kind of the sacrifices for you?
I think it's, like, really nice and crazy, but it's just, like, I don't know.
You're in a unique circumstance, obviously. Your daughter plays at high level. You watch your son play at high level, and Will can only get higher from here. Do you ever envision him on the big stage one day? You see him on Pickleball TV. Can you kind of see it?
I could see it. I think he could go into a PPA tournament, get in the main draw, and just see what happens.
Yeah.
I think he'd be okay. You know, you'd probably have to get through some nerves, but I think he's been prepared to be at least a certain level, ready for a breakthrough. You know, but I do owe a lot to my wife. I think the future is we're trying to help our kids, but ultimately we know they're going to have kids one day, and hopefully they're going to do the same thing, you know, for their kids. So as long as they're working hard and being productive, we're gonna try to do whatever we can for them. And
You're really just trying to set your kids up for success when they have kids,
Yeah.
which goes a long way.
yeah, so this is not just a present mindset; it's more for future as well.
Yeah, it's really great. And Will, you probably won't understand it until you are a dad. Like, see, I'm a dad now, so I understand what you're saying, and you're such a role model when it comes to being a dad. Like, we all want to do things for our kids, doing it the right way, and seeing them succeed is better than us succeeding, it feels like. But enough of that. That's the sappy part of podcasting. So what's the next big tournament on Will's on his plate?
Kind of a cool event at Bear City. They're going to do an MLP style junior event. So he's going to team up with a kid from Michigan named Dom Osborne, as well as Braden Brown, and they're, I believe, getting someone from Atlanta. So the four boys will play together in the Bear City Junior MLP event, which is coming up. So.
Yeah, Dom plays locally here too.
Yeah.
I think he's from Monroe.
Yeah.
Great player.
Yeah.
So say they succeed in Beer City. Is a PPA one register on you? You guys want to try to do one this year?
I think he also has the next gen, which is coming up. I believe the Great Lakes one is in Midland. So it's just a matter of, do they want to do the 5.0 or do they want to enter the pro draw for that? So I think that's the next one in August. So
What are your thoughts? You want him to do the pro?
I think he should just try the pro. You know, nothing's gonna hurt him for doing that.
Sure.
Just be good experience for
Yeah.
him. So
I think a lot of that is just probably getting familiar with it. A lot of the nerves come from being unfamiliar with territory.
yeah,
It's I'd be nervous as a 27-year-old, but as a 16-year-old, it's like these are grown adults going at it. You see, like watching the PPA. I don't know if you watch a ton of it, but AJ Kohler, he's 35 and he smack talks like Hayden Patrickman, who's 18.
Yeah.
So does that ever rattle you a little bit? Like, you're going to be going against people my age, things like that. Does that ever worry you at all?
Not really. Like, Jim was talking to me, he's like just another person with the paddle. I mean, that's all you really have to think about. And if you just have fast hands and all that, so have your hands up. I mean,
Sure.
do your best too.
You're just you're confident in your skills that your dad taught you. It seems like, right?
A lot of people, fortunately, we've had a lot of people help Will, so
Yeah,
it's been a great community, really.
yeah. It goes a long way when you have so many people. Honestly, training Will to go and be better than all of us.
Yeah.
It seems like Will always had a gift when it comes to racket sports ever since we first met at Glass City.
Yeah.
I actually remember Glass City. I'm pretty sure Sean and I were up.
Yeah.
We switched sides and then just choked it away, correct?
That was what, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys had us for a
Yeah.
while there.
Had you in the first half.
Yeah.
And I think you guys won gold there. I don't think you guys have saw a silver medal at Glass City.
Oh, I ride on Will's coattails pretty
Well,
much, so that's
there
about
you
it.
go.
So.
Will, what? Obviously, you've got some big tournaments coming up. Is the pressure ever get too much where you just want to sit back and take a break from it a bit?
No, I always want to keep playing pickleball. I mean, even though whoever I'm playing, I like playing it, and even if I lose, that's making me better. So,
You're playing doubles in MOP. Obviously, you'll have 4. Does singles call to you a little bit more than doubles, or do you like doubles more than singles?
I play singles in tennis, so I honestly like singles better. But I always like playing with someone too. Always keep me up.
Yeah.
Like singles, you don't really have anyone to keep you up or
Sure.
keep you going. But
The only category, at least that I know of, he hasn't played is mixed,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Are you guys trying to find a mixed player?
He's been trying. That's been a difficult task, but that's
Especially
in the
at that
works.
level.
That's in the works
Yeah.
for sure, though. I think that'd be good for Will to try to do that for sure.
Your daughter out of the question for
No,
that?
she's not.
Okay.
We'll see what happens with that. We're trying to get Lily more involved. I think she does like pickleball, so
Yeah.
that's still in the works.
More tennis mindset, is she?
Right now, just to
Yeah.
finish off, yeah.
Fair. How long until she's done with school?
She's got 3 years of eligibility tennis wise, so she could do that for 3
You're
more
just going to
years.
have to wait 3 years. Well, honestly, I feel like how it works is once Will becomes so well known, people come to him.
Yeah.
I have zero about that, so that's honestly just a guess. But I would assume people will start reaching out to Will to play, especially seeing how he's progressing. He's got his own. I mean, at 16, he's got his own paddle with his name on it.
Yeah.
Something people will, especially since pickleball is growing, something people dream of is having their own name on a paddle. But enough of that. You guys, you have such a great future with pickleball coming up. Does Will have any coaching? Is he going to coach at all?
Yeah, I think he actually does a little bit of that on the side with his friends. He'll kind of help them with, because what his friends will like to do is just hit the ball hard, which is seems very familiar with our games. About a year ago is what we were doing too. So, but he's come in the barn and help instruct and give lessons also. So I think that's definitely something that he can use in the future to keep the sport growing.
Yeah. Honestly, it's most pros will give lessons to keep them. Well, the lower end pros, I should say, they do that to keep afloat, to keep the tournaments going. Obviously, high level, they don't really need to do that. But when it comes to school with him, giving lessons, is it become a strain? Obviously, we're in summer, so you really don't have to worry about school. But can it ever be a conflict as to you as a dad watching him maybe have too much school, have too much sports?
I think my wife I'm going to have to give her a lot of credit for this because she's really big on having a routine. So as long as we keep up with the routine, Will's going to be able to have a good balance. And that's what we did with our daughter too. Tennis was a number one priority for her, but it wasn't one that took over her life. It didn't take over school. She had a good balance, had friendships and things like that. And I think this junior year, Will's going to be fortunate enough to go to school with an amended day too. So he's going to have more time available to work and put time into pickleball, but school is number one as well.
Sure.
So that routine's huge for Will.
Do you ever think that there'll become a time, and I honestly just thought of this, that they'll start, and this could be happening now, that they're giving sponsorships for pickleball players in college?
I believe so. I think I've just heard at the last tournament we were in, they're starting to give more money out. Like at the Ohio State Pickleball Club, I mean, they had 140 people just try out for their pickleball team. I think they whittled that team down to 40 players, and there's more and more money that's getting put out there. And you could call it in the form of scholarships or being able to use that to help go to school, but that's becoming more available.
Interesting. So if the option was there to go to college and play pickleball or just go straight pro to pro, like kind of like a situation like no college, straight to pro, would you take it or would you want to take it, Will?
I don't think so.
You'd wanna go to school?
I'd probably want to go to school and get like college in, but I definitely want to go pro.
Sure. I'm sure there's players on. Well, I know one player he's in med school and does the PPA when he can, which is college in pickleball. That's a whole nother horse that you have to deal with eventually. Not right now. But did you like the answer? Did you like college in?
That's 100% because you never know what's going to happen with your life. So
Sure.
if you have college as a fallback, that's a pretty good plan.
Sure. What schools were we thinking? If any school had pickleball, give us your top 3.
I like LSU. I like out there. Ohio State too, and maybe somewhere in Florida, Miami.
Okay. Yeah. We like the Buckeye answer.
Yeah,
we'll
for
take.
sure.
Yeah, but honestly, like kind of going back to our conversation earlier, the North where we're at doesn't have huge facilities like Florida does, and all these pickleball tournaments are played outdoor, and a lot of our season is played indoor because we get so much snow, cold weather. Have you? I'm not asking for an answer, but has a thought ever been like spend a majority of time in Florida so you can play in the winter months?
I don't think it would be a bad idea for Will to go, a week or two away at a time and do some training with players. I know like CJ, they have a house in Arizona. That's where they head off to in the winter months, and then they make their way back to Columbus here. So I still think Will's going to probably be staying at home so he can focus on getting his high school and, focus on tennis too. But we're not opposed to having him train or take him away for little bits of the time,
Sure.
to keep his game going. So
It's such a even as I was saying it, I had to remind myself he's only 16.
yeah,
It's really the only sport where you can be pro and still taking college or high school classes.
yeah,
Which again, it's uncharted waters for a lot of people. You don't obviously you had like the players in high school, you knew they're going to go to college, but in this sport, you can go from high school to pro.
yeah.
You don't really need college. Obviously, you can only play pickleball so long, especially with injuries and things like that. When it comes to collegiate pickleball, I don't know how big it is right now. I don't watch much of it. I don't know if you guys watch any of it.
Yeah, our daughter was a part of Super Regionals, which was at Paddle Taps in Columbus, and they actually won that, so it qualified them for Nationals, which was in Atlanta. I believe Ohio State won a round or two, but it's very competitive. I think Jack Monroe plays on one of the teams. I mean, you're looking at most of these competitive teams have basically pre-professional players that
Right.
are 6'0", 5'8" that are
Yeah.
on the team at the top. So it's about as good a play as you're going to see.
Sure.
So
Yeah, I didn't realize how young Jack Monroe
Yeah,
was. How
yeah.
old is he?
I
Still in
thought-
college,
yeah,
obviously.
18 or 19,
Oh, wow.
I believe. So
And he's the best player in the APP, which is the PPA's rival, I
Yeah,
guess you would call
yeah,
it.
yeah.
So when it comes to that, Will, you think the balance, you can handle that?
Yeah.
I'm sure you could.
Yeah, I
But
think I could. Especially with high school classes being amended nowadays, I think I can do that and do pickleball.
do you have a goal in mind, by either of you, goal in mind by the end of the year you'd like his duper at or certain tournaments by the end of this year?
what do you think, Will?
For Duper, I was hoping maybe get like a 5.5, 5.8 around there. I'm trying to get into better high level tournaments to get it up.
And is his duper right now 5'2", I think I looked at
Yeah,
it?
it's around there.
Yeah. It's hard which is very hard to bump up your duper in these local tournaments
Yeah.
because he's playing a lot of people that are probably 4.2 trying to go to the next level. Unless you play those cash ones which are you'll play your 4.9s and stuff like that. But even then, his duper doesn't jump up
Right.
a ton. I personally don't know of any around here that have the 5.5 level.
Right.
I think maybe Tecumseh has those 5.5 players, which I think you guys have played with them
Yeah.
maybe once or twice. I got invited out there one time, and I couldn't make it, and then I looked up everyone's duper afterwards. Rob Martinez told me to take his place. I was like, he was literally sending me in to die. It's everyone is Will's level or above, right?
Yeah, it's pretty competitive. You can't take a point off. I don't know. I felt like you had to be on 100% of the time. You felt exhausted when one game was over.
And that's just rec play.
Yeah. So it's pretty intense, actually.
Do you feel a difference when it comes to tournament time and rec play?
Like the first game, it's a little nerve-wracking, and then the rest you kind of just gotta like ease into it and just play.
Yeah. Do you have a routine you kind of go through, or you just kind of wake up, whatever happens mentality, which is okay to have? Some players can just wake up and just dominate everybody.
I just wake up, like maybe listen to music, eat, and then go to the place where I have to go, and then
maybe a pep talk from Dad on the way there.
Yeah.
You just kind of let him do his own thing.
Yeah, like we still focus on the routine, whether that's going to be exercising, stretching, push-ups, sit-ups. He does all of those things too. But you got to try to also make sure the night before you haven't used your legs too much. We try to make sure he's got a little bit of a warm-up in. There are things he goes through, but tries to keep it a little bit light. And you do try to have a game plan with the players, but some of the players are new. So you try to stick with a plan A, and if that's not working, you go to a plan B. And it's nice, too, at the changeovers, if I'm there or timeout, I can help coach a little bit, or whoever's with us can help coach, too. Or usually we'll offer something to his teammate or vice versa, and they're able to kind of try to solve whatever problems they might be facing, too. So
yeah, as a dad looking on to your son playing high competitive, if his teammate is starting to get a certain way that you don't like, is it a conversation you guys have afterwards, like maybe address the situation, or maybe we just don't partner with them? Because it's different with him. You seeing it as a dad, you want to protect him best you can.
Well, I think fortunate enough, all of his partners, Caleb Kennard and Roshan and Parker, who he's played with tournaments, they've all been stellar in terms of their attitude, their court demeanor. They know, too, they're going to make mistakes. Will's going to make mistakes. It's just important to have a good court demeanor, good attitude. Usually the coaching is all about maybe if they're missing their third shots or where their third shots need to go or what the other team is doing, and then just try to fix some of those things as they're moving on through the game. So, with
you looking in from kind of the outside, you ever feel yourself overreach some where you have to step back? Or is it a fine line you have to balance?
No, this has been the most fun to watch pickleball as a dad. Tennis is the worst. Because we've seen it all with parents maybe not being the most honest, or the kids not being honest on court. You can't really say much as a parent. Pickleball, you can be a little more vocal. It's a little bit more laid back. You can coach. So it's been enjoyable for my wife and I to watch our kids play that. So.
Tell us a little bit about the struggle with a tennis dad.
Well, we've taken both kids to high-level tournaments, national tournaments. We've seen coaches hiding in bushes, giving signals, talking in foreign languages, kids wiping marks off clay courts so the judges or the referees don't see where the ball hit so they can call it out. And really it's high stakes. They're trying to get points. They're trying to get rankings. They don't want to leave after spending $2,000 or $3,000 for 2 days. They don't want to leave in 2 days. They want to stay there for the week and try to finish it out. So we've seen the gamut, and I don't want to give tennis a bad spin, but you're putting a sport between two kids and they're calling the shots. Yeah. And when there's high stakes out there, certain things can go awry. So we've always taught our kids to be honest. You're not going to win everyone. I think that's the brutal part about pickleball or tennis is it's always looked at as there's one winner. And I don't think you should look at it like that. I think you should look at it as if you came in second, you did pretty darn well. Yeah. And you can use those losses to help you gain as you grow. And coming out second, isn't so bad. So.
Yeah, I don't think pickleball is as bad when it comes to calls and stuff like that. And half of that's due to the size of the court. Everyone can pretty much see. Yeah. But I think as the sport grows, you think it has a potential to be somewhat. And I'm not calling tennis toxic at all, but especially at higher levels, people are willing to do just a little bit more to get the edge on somebody else. You think you could get there?
I think so. I think if Will goes to some higher tournaments, you're going to see more referees, which is good. Like at the World Championships, there's like a ref almost on every other court, which is pretty amazing, actually. Yeah. And then if you're able to make it to the pros, you're going to have 2 refs on a court, which is nice. Tennis, there might be 2 refs for 16 courts. So to be able to get a referee to come over is pretty tough sometimes.
Yeah. So I honestly, pickleball seems to handle that just a little bit better. But I honestly probably it's a smaller sport. You can't cover every court in tennis. Tennis is just so much bigger than pickleball still.
Yeah.
It's, at least in the world. In America, it seems like it's closing the gap a bit, but I don't know if pickleball is ever, well, I can't say this. I don't know if pickleball will reach Europe like it did America.
Yeah. Like
at least the European tennis players that I've talked to, that I see clips, they just want zero to do about it. So what, like for you guys big tennis guys, were you like, let's just try it out, see if we like it, or you're like fully invest right away?
What do you think, Will?
I think like at first I was just kind of like hanging around, didn't really think much of it. And,
Your dad drug you out there?
Honestly, sometimes I did. I was like, just like, I wasn't really into it. And then once Bill gave me a lesson, I started like getting more into it, and he really believed in me, and that kind of helped me.
Yeah.
Getting into it. So I really like, if it wasn't for Bill too, like I probably wouldn't.
Yeah.
Who knows if I would be that into it.
Bill's such a good guy.
He's been an ambassador for us. I've known Bill, but I didn't get to know him until pickleball, and he's been a huge support for. He always calls Will Super Kid. I'll never forget that. I think that's pretty cool that he coins that term for Will. But he's been a huge support for us. I remember even a year ago, him telling me that I need to change my game, and I'm like, man, I didn't know if it was really true or not. And he was 100% right, and I think Will's right. I think he was integral in getting us to actually. I say people play pickleball, and then there's people who can play pickleball. He got us to be able to actually play it, the right way. So.
Yeah, Bill's willing to teach anyone, which not everyone can.
Yeah.
He was coaching at Premier, I think. That's where he coached.
Yeah.
Now he does it privately, which is awesome. And Bill will tell you this. Bill will tell you that he can't hang with super high level play. However, I can learn things from Bill because he watches how I play, and goes a long way for Bill. I really appreciate Bill. Bill's always willing to listen to your needs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He did a good job help running your thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Bill's a great guy. Giving Bill another plug for his tournament, I guess. And honestly, I don't even know where we're going with that. Bill's name got popped.
I think we're just talking about Will kind of just getting started with pickleball, and Bill being pretty integral in that. So
yeah, coming from tennis into pickleball, was there a hesitancy from you to play it, or how'd you get into it?
Luckily, some older gentlemen invited me out, like 7 o'clock morning. I would have to say older man's group. I hate to say that, but that was the case, and I just got to. It basically was really great fellowship, to play something, and it was a slower game for me, which was nice. You could hit the ball hard. It was forgiving. And then just learning, like when I got to play with you last summer, you and I were always at Rotary together. We were trying to dominate out there. Yeah. I don't know. The sport was always, once you start playing it, you seem to have the bug. You don't want to stop playing it, So
it's very addicting, and I'm not exactly sure what it is about it. I don't know if it's anyone can play it. Will can go play a 40-year-old and pickle him, or the other way around. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's the great thing about this sport. Anybody can play it. It'd be community. Families can play it together. It has the potential to be one of the greater sports of. It's not going to be baseball, obviously. Yeah. But it can be a good pastime for all of us to play,
I always say that people say it's not a sport, and I think the people that say that it's not a sport are the people that really can't actually play it. So, sure. I mean, it's basically taking over, like you were saying, tennis too, and it's allowing 8-year-olds to 80-year-olds to be able to play it. So it's pretty nice.
I just saw driving down I forget what school it was, they were tearing up tennis courts and had the pickleball nets off to the side. So 8 tennis courts are getting turned into 8 pickleball courts.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
does it ever kind of irritate you a little bit coming from tennis? You kind of want it to be around a bit more, or you're just obviously you're going to go pro, so you probably promote it.
I like having more pickleball courts around. I mean, we don't have a ton, but like we have some, but we need more, definitely.
Yeah. Do you and your friends ever play?
Yeah, we play all the time at Keener. Yeah. Keener
What's the
Park.
competition like for you?
It's all right. I mean, it's just fun play, basically. A lot of smack talk there. But.
Yeah, sure. Do any of your tennis teammates play pickleball at all?
Yeah, Brody Soto. He's the number 1 on our team. He plays a lot. Also, some other schools that play tennis, like that boys on the tennis team play.
Is that who you won the Toledo Pickle with? Was that?
Brody Soto's
Okay,
on, yeah.
I thought I saw his name mentioned.
Yeah.
Which you've won both tournaments there. We can mention that, right?
Yeah.
Did you guys play in the first tournament they did there?
No, we did not.
The Smash Bash, I think.
We didn't.
Yeah, neither did I. We won't talk about that or anything. Will, when it comes to your friends, is it ever? Obviously, you have to practice a ton. When it comes to being pro, you're going to have to practice a ton, be gone a lot. Do you ever are you going to feel like you're missing out a bit with your friends?
I mean, not really. Like sometimes, but it's not often I do because I'm always doing something when I'm gone. So I don't really think about it that much. So.
Sure. Keeping yourself busy type of thing.
Yeah.
That could be a strain for a kid being so young, I think. The fear of missing out, essentially.
Yeah.
But the good thing about pickleball is most of the stuff is on weekends, so you're only missing a couple days. And like you were saying, you have great organization. You're not missing any school to go to a tournament unless you're traveling quite a ways. Does that kind of help push him to go pro with it being mostly weekend tournaments?
Yeah, 100%. I think the tennis, you'd have to leave school on a Friday. You might not even get, if you did well enough, you might not be able to go to school until Tuesday, and you're staying in a hotel all weekend. So far, we've noticed with pickleball, you're done with the tournament on a Saturday after 5 or 6 hours. So
Right.
you can still drive home, so to speak, even if you're 4 or 5 hours away. So it seems very conducive to a family lifestyle, being able to still be a family. You don't have to be apart so much. Tennis doesn't really lend to that so much, especially if you're going like national tournaments that are a week long or 2 weeks long.
Sure.
That ends up being super expensive and very time consuming. So.
Yeah, and I was even going to ask, and you don't have to go into it too much, but does it become financially taxing when he was playing tennis or is playing tennis, now adding pickleball to it? Does it kind of get stressful at all?
Yeah, it gets a little stressful, but we luckily have a plan, a budget, and he has a desire. So we'll do, whatever we can. He helps. We mow lawns. We do different things that he has to do around the house for hard work and help pay for those things as well.
Sure.
So he has a job as well that he has to put in the mix, and he contributes towards his lifestyle too. So
Yeah, tournaments, just the entry fee alone is quite a bit. But now you guys trying to find better tournaments for him. You're gonna have to travel states now, so it means either airfare, gas money, and hotels most of the time. Especially him going pro is probably going to play doubles and singles and eventually mixed. If Lily, that's your daughter's name, if she quits tennis for us and plays pickleball, right? That can be a financial burden, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But most people just see the player when it's a young player. They just see the player. They don't see the background behind the scenes of the hard work. Luckily, you guys have 2 courts at your house, so you're not having to pay for court time, which a lot of the pros still have to pay. They don't see the travel. They don't see the expenses. They just see the player. So it goes a long way, you guys being supportive of him. Obviously, you're working for that. The sponsorship probably helps out a bit.
Yeah.
No more need to buy paddles, right?
Right, for sure. Those are good paddles, so we're going to stick with those as long as we can.
Absolutely.
Sure.
We didn't talk about this much. I want to give the credit to these guys as much as I can. Tell us a little bit about the paddle, what you can get from it, either of you.
Go ahead, Will.
I think you can get a lot of power and still control, even though it's a power paddle. has new grit on it, and it's a new colorway. I like it a lot, and I do my topspin drops a lot, and the grit really helps get it down.
Okay.
But, yeah.
There's a lot of people, at least beginners, they just want the ball to go over the net.
Yeah.
So, at least what Sean was telling me, this has the has the power to just get the ball over when you need it to. So does it kind of range from beginner to pro, the paddle?
I think it lends to any player style, really. It can go beginner to pro for sure. It's similar to the Flamingo Project paddle, but it's thinner, so it provides a little more pop, I believe, too.
Yeah.
I think it's got the most grit that paddle has ever had on it, so he's right with those drops. You can make topspin drops, and that makes it a lot of trouble for the opponent, for sure, to get that ball back. So
Longevity, he was telling me he's had it 2 months, and it still has everything it needs. So that is a lot of people's biggest concern is they're going to put money into a paddle and it's just going to give out on them in a month. So they haven't been out super long to say how long they'll last, but so far so good, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, for sure. The price is also really good for it. I mean, it's going to last way longer than 2 months. You can have one paddle for longer than 2 months. You're going to get great play out of it for sure.
And what's the price and where can you find it?
The price is $129. You can find it either at our house. Will and I are really good at delivering those paddles to wherever you are. Also on willmichaelblack.com you can find the paddles, and it'll be eventually on his Instagram page as well.
Is it on 2044's website at all?
2044 should have those up there by next week.
Okay. Limited stock so far, or do you have about 100 or so?
There's a little bit over 100 or so, and then there's more on their way. So.
Okay. Just wanted to give them a chance to know, and we'll put that in our Instagram and stuff like that for you. And all this pretty much is just going to help him keep playing, traveling with you guys. So obviously he's helping financially, which is a little bit less strain on you, I'm sure, a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Brandon, one of the owners of 2044, has been a huge support for Will. And based on the contract, too, it's really nice because Will can take some advantages of the amenities of the contract as well. So
Perfect.
It's been great for him.
Yeah, so is there a time limit on it, or as long as Will keeps progressing, he just kind of keeps having the...
He signed the contract January 1st of this year. He has a year for that contract, and then after that year is over, they'll reconvene and just kind of discuss maybe negotiations or whatever they want to do with
that's
that.
What we're hoping for, right?
Yeah, right.
Well, listen, if you're sitting at a 5.8 duper, I'm sure, and this is obviously no threat to 2044, they know how this goes, Will's going to be a hot item for people.
Yeah.
Well, Sean plays with this paddle. He bought one. He said it's solid.
Yeah.
He liked it more than the Flamingo.
Love to hear that.
Yeah, we'll post that on Instagram too. So what's next steps for Will? I obviously we already talked about it. He's got he's got the tournaments coming up. What's it mindset wise? What's he have to really settle into?
I think he's just got to find a good partner he can play and train with, or partners to play and train with, to get a core group together and just really put in the time to drill. I think drilling is going to be the most important thing. I believe Carmela was telling us off the MLP team with CJ and Ross Whitaker that probably an hour and a half is really good a day to drill, and maybe try to focus on a solid tournament a month. So 3 weeks of good drilling, and then put that into action in one good tournament, come back and reassess.
Which is kind of stressful. You'll put 3 weeks into a tournament, and sometimes you're out in round one type of thing.
Yeah.
And you guys might know this. I've actually asked multiple people and have failed to look it up after the podcast. When it comes to entering a PPA Challenger, I think it's how you go. Is it one round and you're out if you lose?
Yes,
it is.
Yes.
Which that's high stakes.
That's high stakes.
Which they're already an expensive tournament, but losing day one or game one, is that put a little pressure on you? Do you feel?
Yeah. Sometimes with the money too, you have to put into it. Yeah. I mean, a little pressure, but you still gotta go out and do what you do.
I feel like once you crack the first one, you break into the Challenger, you kind of settle into it.
Yeah, I think if you can get going, like he said, usually, I think you've experienced this too. You play a few points and the nerves start to die away, and then you just realize you got to go out and try to execute now.
Yeah.
You know.
Does it make you nervous watching him?
A little, but as I've aged, and I won't go into my age, I realize the importance of just being with my kids. I've enjoyed it. You know, I saw one of the higher level tournaments Will was playing with Caleb in the fall at Hope College, and I believe they placed second in a 5.0 plus, and I was enamored by their play and how they played together, and it was great for me to watch and be a part of. So
you can become a spectator instead of a dad type of thing, which is a good place to be.
Moral support and just there for them. So
yeah, like you'll look at fathers in pro sports. The two that I always think of when it comes to father-son is LeVar Ball and then Deion Sanders. It can either go really good or really bad.
Yeah.
How do you balance that? You just let Will do his own thing?
I think it's important that we are the parents, and then he's got a coach that actually is a coach, you know. So we try to be a support to him and show him we love him, we care about him, and then teach him what he needs to do in terms of putting the work in. And then when he has that coach has a role, and he has a job to do with that coach.
Is that hard to let the coach role go away from you?
Not at all, because I believe I got a big enough job as a dad, you know, and I believe the coach is far more prepared and has more expertise than I do. So.
And honestly, when it comes to Will's age, he needs the dad afterwards more than he's going to need the coach afterwards.
Yeah, you just 10 minutes to think about it and move on, you know, just go on to bigger and better things. So, yeah.
Well, I'm sure, I don't know what your experience was, but when you played sports in high school, especially if you didn't do well, I would get the lecture on the car ride home. So I would already feel bad the whole time I was playing, and then I'd hear it for 30 minutes on the way home. Was never ideal.
Yeah.
So it's a good step to step away from, which most parents cannot.
Yeah.
Especially you were talking about tennis parents. They'll do anything for their kid, but there becomes a point where you have to stop and let your kid do the thing that you've taught them to do.
Yeah.
Which is great. And honestly, we're nearing the end of our podcast. So I know we just talked about it. Tell us where we can buy it one more time.
You can go to willmichaelblack.com for the website to purchase the paddles. There's a couple different options on how to purchase it. You'll find it on 2044's website probably next week. They're still putting the graphics up this week. You can text Will or myself. We can give you that information as well. And we dropped 2 off at Strawberry Acres yesterday. We dropped a couple off at Keener Park the other day. We're pretty good at special deliveries. So
yeah. So can we follow Will's progression in tournaments on the website or his Instagram, anything like that?
Yeah, we're hoping to put all of those future tournaments and dates on the website as well. That's going to be a hub for all of the information about Will.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I really appreciate you guys coming on. It's a unique experience. You get to talk to an emerging young pro. And eventually, hopefully, a tour pro.
Yeah.
People will come back and listen to this podcast and see where you came from, type of thing. But thank you guys for coming on.
Thank you.
We wish you best of luck, Will.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for listening.